This podcast is brought to you by Steede Motor Group, Claregalway. For your personalised vehicle shopping experience, find out more at steedemotorgroup.ie. So delighted now to be joined by former Galway under-20 football manager Donal Ó Fátharta to look back on his time in charge of the Galway under-20s and how he found the full experience and everything he's learned from that. But just before we do that, Donal, obviously just the weekend gone by there, we had Caerphilly and St. Bridget's in the Connacht final. Caerphilly coming up short, surprisingly for a lot of people, but it was just one of those days really for Caerphilly, wasn't it? Just kind
Yeah,
of chasing the game from the very off.
yeah, absolutely. It was, I suppose, Caerphilly have played better, and I suppose that it was always going to be nip and tuck. To be honest, I found that the chat before the game about Bridget's and that really, because I would know a lot of those guys that were going to come up against that under 21s, the Rory Fallon, the Paul McGraths, the Shane Kinans of this world to supplement the stand. You know what I mean? And Ben O'Carroll and these guys. So, and Caerphilly would have known that as well, and that's a young Caerphilly team as well. So, to be honest, the talk beforehand was wasn't the best talk in my opinion from guys. The research wasn't done, but a lot of good footballers in that Bridget team and a very strong Bridget team with young and old, experienced. So yeah, it was all going to be a 50-50 game, and that's what it was. But I think the talk beforehand didn't help, and was sort of a little bit ill-informed, if it's me. But look at, I think Kevin has done a fantastic job down there. I've worked with a couple of those guys, Patrick Egan, Brian Cogger, those guys, Jack McCabe, absolutely super guys. So they're the future, and it's great to like seeing these guys around them. You know what I mean, to bring them on. So look at it's a bit of transition, I suppose, in Caerphilly at the minute, and to have a county title in the bag gives those guys confidence. So yeah, look at hopefully Caerphilly, a good strong Caerphilly, I think is good for Galway football as well. So am I calling her Caerphilly, raising the bar is good for our guys and guys that are playing for Galway and playing for Porrick and, so for the maroon jersey. So yeah, a good performance, but, could have beaten them, but it was a strong Bridges team. There's no question about that.
The killer really seemed to be they get the goal before half time and they claw it back and they really pin Bridget's in for the first 10 minutes, won the majority of Bridget's kickouts. But when they get the second goal, you feel like momentum switching. But from Bridget's perspective, to go from 1 point to a 3 point lead in such a short space of time felt like the big turning point in that game.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. There was nothing in that game. And with O'Carroll, they had a guy who was on song on that particular day and took his chances, Caerphilly hit the crossbar and stuff like that. So there was very, very little in it. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? There was nothing that guy did wrong. Guys put in a good shift and stuff like that. And in games like that, see, in my opinion, are overanalyzed. You know what I mean? And you're looking for little scenarios here and there. And sure, if you control all those scenarios, sure, you'd be a fantastic player and manager. You just don't. And guys, Bridges did play well. You know what I mean? But Caerphilly played very well as well. You know what I mean? Both probably didn't take their chances at vital when they were on top, especially. So but when they got the second goal, I thought they'd push on that time. And in fairness to Bridget's, they stuck at it and came back. Bridges probably had to win the game twice. You know what I mean? He came back twice in that game. I think they got a good start, and then Caerphilly came back at them, and then kind of went and won it again, shall we say? So, no, look, there's nothing in it. A great game. I thought a very enjoyable game for me to watch, anyways. So, yeah, look at Bridget still be, our strong team now. They wouldn't put it up to most teams that they have in Ireland semi-final.
Overall, just finally on this game, it's a positive year for Caerphilly, really, when they were considered not to win Frank Fox from the outset. Really, everyone had Mike Cullen as the top favourites to win it. So when they look back in time settled, you'd have to say overall positive.
Oh, absolutely. And as I said, I think it gives the younger guys a little bit of confidence, that they can go and win it. And that year will stand to them because that's the future. It's like seeing these guys, they can't go on forever. There has to be a turnover of players. And this year was important for them because was their first in three, was it probably, or you know what I mean? So first since 2019 maybe or something, I'm not sure, but so yeah, I think it will stand to them. But again, there's a couple of teams there, chomping at the bit as well. I think Claregalway probably are sleeping giant a little bit. Michael, obviously, will be licking their wounds for next year. Montpellier are always going to be a solid team. So there's 4 or 5 teams there, that on any given Sunday can take a scalp. So yeah, it's good. It's good to have a competitive championship, and it's good to have a Curfin. I won't say back or anything like that, but they're always going to be there. They're always going to be the standard bearers. So they won't go away. Don't worry, Paul. They won't be going away. They won't be going away anywhere soon, anyways.
Yeah, I think that's for the rest of Galway club football to fear, really.
Yeah.
But on it, you were with on Spidale this year, your own club, obviously. You made the drop down to intermediate, but we were just alluding on the podcast, like the losses you had this year of lads who are away, like any club would feel those losses. When you look back on it all now and you've kind of had, say, a few weeks to analyze it, do you think those losses were just really significant?
Yeah, it was tough. It was a tough year. I suppose. Look at Smithil is a very, very, very small club. People again don't realize how small the club is. Don't realize too that most of the guys are hurling at a reasonably high level as well, and the majority of those players play both, and they're the main players for both the football and hurling team. So look, I've been involved with a lot of those guys since they were minors, going back a lot. So they've still were junior in 2010, was it? You know what I mean? And intermediate then, was it 18? You know what I mean? So it wasn't long ago we were playing junior football. You know what I mean? So they've come a long way in that group, that cohort. Most of them, most of them, been there since 2009 to 10. We would have lost junior A Westport finals and won county finals and stuff like that, and gone on, won a small bit there. So look at it. There has been a couple of guys that have stepped away, a couple of guys that have are traveling, and will be back and stuff like that. But look at Spittle are fine. They'll be tipping away down at. Look at senior level is very competitive, and look at this every week. Then guys hurling and football. It just took its toll. The split season took its toll. I think for this year definitely, especially with a couple of guys missing. And that. So look at there's no problems or anything there. The guys are doing their best. You know what I mean? They had a shot at it against Carla Strand. We kind of Letchmore had a shot at it there and kind of didn't perform that day. So that was probably maybe the day we kind of maybe if we that was the one we could have maybe Carla Strand are good and probably a bit stronger maybe than us. But sometimes you can catch guys on the hop and all that. So. Look at intermediate football next year, which is exciting for the guys. So because there's a lot of teams down there, there's Brannocks are down there, our neighbours here, and stuff like that. St. Michael's have gone down, and there's strong teams down there. Ballygar still there, Cartoon. Michael's obviously come down with us. So look, it's a very competitive championship, and that's what you want. You want to be playing at the level that you're competitive. Like we got a couple of hammerings this year, which did us no good at all against the likes of McCullen and a down stuff like that. Again, through no effort, because these guys put in a huge effort all year and for years. So look at hopefully now they can circle the wagons again and get back at it. And there's some exciting games on next year. You know what I mean? So it's something to look forward to, hopefully, for the guys, and it'll get them back winning games again, because we would have been since we were senior football and intermediate hurling, we've shipped a few beatings, which isn't great. You know what I mean? Like, and not good for confidence. So you want to be playing football at a reasonable level, but being competitive, and hopefully we will be competitive now. Hopefully at intermediate level.
Just a point we had in a podcast we did a couple of months ago with Fico Bear, the Micheál Brannocks footballer, and he was just alluding to the point of a bit of concern at the minute for football in West Galway and the Connemara area, just losing players. And you see on Caharua make the jump from senior football to junior football in the space of 2 years. Would you be concerned?
Look, in lower populations, obviously there's always a concern, but I think Caharua would be fine. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good footballers back there. Trust me. We played them this year, so they'll be fine. I I wouldn't be worrying about that. I wouldn't be worried about the guys dropping down a division or anything like that. Personally, that wouldn't bother me whatsoever. As I said, playing competitive football where you're competing and when you're enjoying it, I think that's more important than everyone playing senior football and all this sort of stuff. We all can play for Galway. We all can, be senior footballers. So to me, obviously it's a worry. But I think that the club's back this way, knowing them that Carrows are fine, Brannocks, we're fine. You know what I mean? I don't see it back further. Maybe there might be trouble, not trouble, but numbers wise, we're okay. We're the same since I was very, very young. It's similar enough. We struggle to get teams out at times. Other times then we might have a few subs. Guys will step away, all of that sort of stuff. That's been there since I was playing. That's, 30, 35 years ago, maybe at this stage, at that age. So look, there's always a concern. Low population is a problem. But there's a lot of good work going on now on coaching, and there's a lot of good coaching, a lot of good work done in clubs. So if guys drop down, for example, Carol Lewis of this world, I have no doubt they'll be back. They'll be back up very, very quickly. You know what I mean? It's just sometimes stuff like that can be a little bit of a wake-up call. Get the structures in order again and off you go. That's what it is. You know what I mean? The clubs aren't going away. So look at, sometimes you can't be going at 100 miles an hour all the time. Sometimes you kind of, you get clipped and you kind of have to lick your wounds for a while. So look at, I have no trouble or no problems with guys dropping down a grade. It's no problem for me, and especially Carrow, because I know a lot of players back there and they've got a lot of talent back there still. They won't be long down there, I'd imagine,
It's probably something, Donal, we're going to see more and more of, like bigger clubs going down to intermediate, just with the way the system is obviously going to go to now. 16, 4 groups of 4. Like, you're even looking next year, you could get a club that just ends up in an absolute disaster of a group, just with the way things will be seeded. So we probably are going to see in the next, say, 4 to 5 years, bigger clubs making the drop to intermediate.
Absolutely. And look at it's a population thing, Paul, as well. That's the Claregalways, the Mike Cullens, the Curfins. They've got big clubs, big populations. So it's always going to be like that. I don't think we're going to change that. For me, it's not about kind of that. It's about the structures that are in place for the young kids coming through. They're enjoying their football. You know what I mean? That they have a senior team or a junior A team, whatever it is, that it's been well prepared, well coached, you know what I mean, as well as the under 6s and 7s and 8s and all the way up. Structures are more important to me, and it's county level is the same thing. You know what I mean? If been working with obviously Galway football for a while. The structures are very good in Galway football, in my opinion, but they're very good everywhere else as well. So you have to kind of try and keep the standard up as best you can. And the club is no different. If the structures are there, clubs will be fine. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of goodwill, a lot of good coaching, a lot of education and coaching now. So there's no excuses. You know what I mean? There's no excuses for that. But everyone can play senior football. Everyone can play intermediate. There has to be tiers. Like, so there's going to be teams, and it's not a disaster if a team, this is my opinion, if the team go down, they don't lick your wounds, you restructure, you analyze what went on, and off they go again. You know what I mean? That's to me that's life. You know what I mean? That's what's going to be. So look, you do your best you can, but if you do go down, there's no problem there. But look, at the big populations obviously have a distinct advantage there. I know from my own kids that this, playing now, we're playing second and third teams from maybe a Claregalway or something like that, or a Currafin, which again is fine as long as the guys are playing at their own level, and enjoying it. Sure, that's the main thing,
Obviously, now you've stepped down as Galway under-20 football manager. Derek Savage takes over for 2024. Given that from the time you've stepped down to now, how do you look back on your time in charge of the Galway under-20s?
Don't look back at all, actually. Not reflect much on it, I suppose. Lucky to be involved. I'm involved well before that as well, so I've been a stints at that. But we had a good spell there between minors and 20s, where guys played in a couple of All-Ireland. A lot of guys have come through that are on the senior team at the minute. You know what I mean? Come through from Stephen Joyce in 2016 All-Ireland to ourselves in 18 and 19, then in the 20s and 20, and Alan hopefully now on that team. But look at again, it's not about winning All-Irelands, in my opinion. It's not about Well, it is about, I think, trying to get to the latter stages, maybe of competitions, whether they're minor or 20s, just for that experience. And this year now it's Evo and Ja, and the what do you call it, the round robin will help hopefully the 20s, because we were crying out for that for a good while, just to give, and especially for us, I think we thrive there, because the more games we got, I found at minor level, that system is very good, where you have your round robin and you get a chance to blood guys and stuff like that. And our guys, I think, get better. They have done anyways, in my experience, got better with every game. So look at it's about getting guys through, and Savo, no better guys to come to him after us. So look at, we had a good time, enjoyed it. You know what I mean? We're still kind of be tipping around, helping around, and that's what it's all about, to have everyone kind of rowing in the same direction. But having good guys getting through and trying to give them that basis to help them at senior level, that was our remit, we thought, and we tried to do that as best we could.
Would you look on last year in particular, like 2023, the year just gone by, when that Galway Mayo game in Pearse Stadium, it was a knockout championship game, the preliminary quarter-final. You had 7 lads who played that day who went through your system with the under-20s. Can you look on them with a bit of pride when you see that?
And from the team that played in Tuam this year, is it?
Well, no, just from like, say, your under-20 tenure, you had there were 7 lads across the various different years that played against Mayo that day.
Oh, was there? Yeah, I wouldn't have the stats on that, Paul. Yeah, there's a lot of them gone through, but they're good guys, Paul. If they're not my guys, they're the club's guys. We're just facilitating them a little bit. You know what I mean? They'd come through no matter who's there. Like Johnny McGrath's, Carl Sweeney's, these guys, Jack Lynn's, Matty Tierney, them guys that come through, doesn't matter what they're like. You know what I mean? Good job we didn't get in their way. That's the only thing. But no, they're the type of guys you want, because you can see them guys from a young age that they're, look at, you never know, and you kind of, guys develop at different stages and all that. But there's a lot of guys when you have an idea these guys have come through, and there's 3 or 4 there that definitely would, and there's more on top of that now. And Patrick Egan this year, Sam O'Neill this year now. I think Sam is injured at the minute. I think a fantastic prospect. Patrick obviously playing, Brian Cogger, Jack McCabe, who was very, very good this year. Great potential as well, I think. And the under-20 team this year, I think there's a lot, coming. There'll be the strength of that minor team, one the Ireland with Alan. I think there's a lot of guys coming through. We had a few of them last year as well. There's Jack Lonergan is there, and there's McGlinchey, these guys coming in. So look at to mind them as best we can, and that they get good minding in Galway, in fairness. From my experience over the years, they get good minding. They get the best of S&C, and they get the best of minding in regards to nutrition and all that sort of stuff. So that's I suppose that's our job, or the county board's job, and I think we're doing a good job there. And with the guys that are in charge over the years, have it's competitive, but we've no excuses that way. So the guys are getting, so look, it's up to us to try and keep them going, and Derek and Jan now will keep those guys going and keep the conveyor belt going, because you need a turnover, I suppose, for Porrick's panel to kind of keep it fresh as well. So I'm sure Porrick is looking at everybody and trying to freshen it up, because it's not easy. Intercounty football is not easy. It's a lifestyle nowadays. So you need the right guys, you need the right characters that are prepared to put the shoulder to the wheel and get on with it. And we have a lot of good guys in go at the minute. So hopefully looking forward to a good year this year. You know what I mean?
I'm sure there's a lot of different past and current under-20 managers that have a lot of different views on the way the system was ran. But like during your time, obviously there you talked, like I think there was one game obviously against Mayo in Tuam, there was a penalty shootout. That's what knocks you out of the championship. There's different John Kearns' games that were probably abandoned throughout your time as well.
There's a bit of that going on, all right. It was frustrating that way, but again, it was what we didn't kind of complain about it, because you had no control over it. So you just got on with it, and we tried to adjust it, not adjust, but to kind of adapt as best we could, because it's very, very difficult and chatting to Sab about that. It is difficult to juggle this time of the year because there's freshers, there's colleges and stuff now coming in January and stuff. So it is difficult, which you have no control over. And sometimes when you have no control, it's almost easier. You can't do anything. So why do you complain? There's no point in complaining about it. So you adapt as best you can, But the John Kern Cup was, once the weather was fine, was okay. But again, they're round robin now, so there's no point in looking back. But it was a bit frustrating. But we can't complain because we were involved in a penalty shootout, won it, and went on to win All Ireland. You know what I mean? And the system has been good to us, and I've always said that. You know what I mean? So we can't complain once we got knocked out then by Mayo on the penalty shootout, and by Mayo then on the wind up in bloody Beacon another day. So look at it, it's swings and roundabouts that way. So we can't complain that way. So, but now look at it. Just we were always kind of talking to the media and talking to guys saying, look, it's the players that are losing out here. It's not fair because they put in such an effort, and I'm delighted that they get their chance now. They get their 4 or 5 games at least, and that's development. Like, you know what I mean? Getting a bloody knockout game is not development. It's just kind of, I don't know what it is, but at least they'll get a chance now to develop, and they'll be prepared. It'll help them, for senior, because you need 3 or 4 games, because the senior, like if you take say last year's under 20 and previous years, that compared to a senior setup where you have the National League and then you have the provincial championship and then the All Ireland series, like it's crazy. Like, so that's not preparation for, you know what I mean? When you think of it like that, kind of like in school, it's like the junior cert and leaving cert, they're too far apart that way, and the under 20 and the senior setup are too far apart. So they need to kind of do a little bit more, and they have done so, and they've seen that. I think they knew it, and I always said it, they'd get there eventually, but it'll take a little bit of time, and it wouldn't be their priority, and it wasn't their priority, but it's there now. So look, it's better for the guys, and I'm delighted for them. They can get a good cut at it now, and all teams, not just Galway, but all teams and all fellas that are 19, because it's busy times for them. There's exams, even search for some, you know what I mean? Exams definitely at Christmas time, projects to finish, all that sort of stuff, because, they're putting that on the line for one game. We always said it. It wasn't fair, but look, that's in the past now. Looking forward, hopefully we can, and we will, I hope, benefit from the round robin and, get a couple of games under our belt and see a few guys coming through that'll push on for the next few years for the seniors,
Is under 20 is that the right grade for you, or do you think because you hear a lot of people always saying that it needs to be put back to the traditional under 18 minor and under 21, but is under 20 at the right age for you, do you think?
Look, I don't think about it as much as other people that think about it, but the people that go on about it and are very sort of, I don't know, that give out a lot about it. Personally, it can't be that different if it's only 1 year. You can't be over the top about 12 months. It's 12 months, so it can't be a huge difference. And to me, what I did thought, even though we got to a few All Irelands at under 17s or the under 17, which was minor, I thought that was too young for Croke Park. Definitely, you know what I mean. Even 18s were there years ago as well. It was nice, and it was great for families and fans and stuff like that. But that probably was now. The under 20, probably would never be, but that to be run with senior and kind of have an All Ireland on senior time, that would be something that I think would be nice, because I think at that stage when they're 19, 20 years of age, that's something that could entice guys and keep guys playing maybe a little bit longer, to make the under 20 grade a little bit more attractive. I think that would be something I wouldn't have the answers, but that's something I think would be beneficial going forward, to have it a little bit closer to the senior setup, because it's the next one, to have it related in some way. I'm not sure, but when the minor left the All Ireland day, it hasn't actually been replaced yet, has it? I don't know if this is it. I'm not sure, but if there's anything planned in the future. But look at the round robin now as a step forward anyway. So we'll take that at this stage, and maybe they'll be looking at it over the next couple of years. But making it a little bit closer to the senior, I think that would be something maybe going forward.
The highlight, I presume, during your tenure is obviously when you win the All Ireland against Dublin in Croke Park. particularly after the heartbreak you went through with your players, and even some of them were then later involved in that under 20 setup to get their All Ireland medal. But the heartache they experienced and you experienced with your management team at minor level, obviously the last minute goal. There's obviously a bit
Yeah.
of heartache with that, but obviously that All Ireland's the highlight, but strange as well because it's during COVID and there's no one there.
Yeah, it was. I was delighted for the guys. Again, the guys that and the management actually, because 2019 is the match you're referring to was that'll never go away. You remember that one more than most, but that was a difficult one in fairness. And we said it at the time. I remember even saying to the boys, but then to do that in 20 and with COVID and having the extra stress of COVID and missing guys and all of that sort of stuff to come through all of that, them same guys like after 19, like that you know what I mean. That was delighted for them. You know the fellas that played in 19, John McGrath, I think, and Thomas and these guys. They were they're good guys as well. So yeah, no, I was delighted for them and the management team because at the time they were again, we just got on with it, to be honest with you. But you'd always be thinking back, yourself, life goes on and all that, but you're always kind of reflecting and, looking back and what ifs and all that. So, no, it was good. I was delighted with them because they deserved something after 19. And there was a lot in 19 that didn't get anything out of it. And I feel for them as well because, we went on the next year, fair enough, and, had a little bit of success. But the guys from 19 was tough, and that's what I mean by these guys. Some of them were 16 years of age, and that was a tough one to take. That sport, there's lessons in that, and it builds resilience and all that as well. So look at it's you have the attitude to get on with it anyway. So yeah, look at ups and downs. It's been like that throughout football and sport. That's the way it works. And look at we've had a good few ups, so we can't be complaining.
You worked with Paddy Moore and Enda Daly at minor level, then you brought them through with yourself to the under 20 setup there. I get the sense there was a close relationship there.
It was, yeah. It was, yeah. Us and Enda were together again. We're thrown together. I would have known Enda that well, but we were thrown together. And at 17s when the crossover was 2017, was it? When the minor changed, the age changed, we went in as development squads in with the 17s, and Stephen Joyce had the minors that time, the original under 18s, shall we say. And so, we were with the North that time. It was at the North, and so we just got together. We got on well. We had the same philosophy and stuff, and it's a fantastic trainer. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and Paddy as well. They're good guys. Paddy's with my Colin now, and NUIG and stuff like that. Has a lot of experience playing or managing, selecting, and involved in teams. So yeah, there's a lot of experience there and good guys, good guys, and been good to go football, and we'll be back again. I'm sure to and some guys to help. But yeah, no, the relationship was good. It was good.
And just when you mentioned earlier on about some of the players now that have come through from your under 20 tenure to senior football, that they're exceptional footballers and they would have come through no matter what. But there probably is some footballers then that have maybe surprised a few on the outside to make that breakthrough into senior. But what do you think from those groups you've worked with? What has it been to get them through to senior football, do you feel?
I think it's their individual drive, Paul, more than anything else, because the structures are there, and we always say this to them because the structures are there for them. The help is there, you know what I mean, and it is a difficult journey, and we try and navigate that journey with them, as in to try and draw a picture of the journey, as in schooling and college and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because we're familiar with the journey. So I don't know if that helps. That's what we do or did. We try and navigate it with them and help them and facilitate them. That's kind of it. When they're under pressure with exams and stuff like that, there's no problems. Stuff like that in life, because you're building, not building, but you're kind of building relationships with guys, number one. And it's not just a football relationship, it's a life relationship. It's their family, things go through, people have lost family members when the group was together, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of stuff going on. So look, we try to be there for them. We don't try to overload them with information or anything like that. We don't try to be their best friend or anything like that. We just know that we're there for them in a football sense, obviously, but as well, from a schooling sense, an educational sense, because the under-20 grade, I think it's around that time they're kind of peaking with their education and trying, they're in first year, second year, some of them maybe then in third year, or they're maybe becoming younger then, leaving certain stuff like that. So there can be a lot going on. So it can be overwhelming because with gym and S&C and all that sort of stuff, intercounty football, there's a lot asked of them. There's a lot. It's a lifestyle, and there's no truer kind of definition of an intercounty football now. It's a chosen lifestyle, because you cannot do anything else. There's very little else. There's very little downtime, even at the minute. I'm not sure their schedule or anything like that, but I know from old, they're 5-6 days a week between gym and rest and you know what I mean, stuff like that. So they have a break now, probably over the Christmas, but as we all know, sure, National League is only around the corner. It's the end of May now with Mayo, so it's busy. It's busy. But they have to have that self-belief, that drive, that desire. They have to be organised, you know what I mean? All of that sort of stuff. It can't just be kind of willy-nilly coming into it and see how it goes and stuff like that. You have to have a plan. And a lot of guys do have that plan, you know what I mean, that they want to be intercounty footballers. They understand it, you know what I mean? And look at the under-20 setup in Galway anyways, definitely helps, you know what I mean, helps that. That's for sure, because the structures are definitely there. And the new management now, there's no better management in there now that have a lot of experience as well, with Garrett and Savile as well, and Decky Burke and S&C as well. You know what I mean? These guys are good guys, so they're going to be well-minded in there as well. So that's what you want, good guys minding them and guiding them through. And whatever results they get, it'll be fine too. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be too worried about the results that they get. They'll be getting plenty of games now, and they'll be developing, and that's the main thing.
You haven't took too much of a break for yourself. You're being roped in, obviously, to now being involved with the senior development squad. Do you feel that's important, given the jump maybe for some players from under-20 to senior football?
Yeah, look at it. It's a difficult one, all right, especially with the year. And we talked about the year there. It is a difficult one. I think Porrick has it up and running the last couple of years. I think it's important. Porrick thinks it's very important, and it's just keeping guys up to speed. It's with injuries and with the long seasons now, it's difficult to to have a big panel, and with injuries and stuff like that. I mean, guys step in and step out every now and then, but injuries and stuff. So look at it's an opportunity. It's I suppose it's a link with maybe the younger guys that might be just wouldn't be obviously good enough for a senior panel, just to keep them in the system. Their S&C is monitored, all that sort of stuff. But again, it's just a little thing to help them if it's what they want, if it's their desire. You know what I mean? It's not for everyone. People get asked in and it's not for them, which is fine. But it's an opportunity. That's the way it's sold. It's an opportunity for guys to make that jump, because it's not a kind of look at it, I'll go be an intercounty footballer now. I think I'll do. It's something you have to really decide early and stick at it. There'll be ups and downs and all that. So I think it's important for a link and keep guys up to speed, and it helps the senior panel as well for training games throughout the year as well, that you're not bringing guys in that are not up to speed, that the guys are training, that they're doing similar work to the actual panel, and that when they do step in, whether it's a training game or whatever, that the guys that are in there are being tested. They're not just way better because they're training harder than the guys that are outside the panel. So I think that's important for competitiveness, and Porrick, identifies this and knows that, and that's why it's been up and running the last couple of years. So yeah, it's good. And even guys, everyone can't play for Galway. I always say that. So look at it, it helps club football as well, because guys that are in there, they won't all play, won't all get on the senior panel, but it improves club football, and club football improves the guys that are in the Galway. So it's all sort of a knock-on effect, in my opinion, and it helps the standard of Galway football and standard Galway footballers, hopefully, because they bring that standard back to their clubs, and that feeds down and makes players better and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, look at it. It's a positive thing in my opinion. Yeah, definitely.
How does this look? Like, are you training separate to the senior panel altogether with this development panel?
Oh yeah, they train separately. They train separately. But then again, there'd be maybe a game now. It's only like it's early. It's only December and all that. It's early, but it might have a training game or that sort of stuff. Play games against them, depending on injuries and stuff as well. You know yourself, getting guys up to speed this time of year is not easy. So there's a lot of guys out injured and coming back from club now, the curving guys and stuff like that, and some guys traveling and stuff. So look, it's juggling. It's not easy for an intercounty under-20 or a senior manager this time of the year. That's for sure. So it's a matter of juggling. So the squad, the second squad, sort of helps there, I think, just to keep things going and keeps training games maybe and stuff like that. Keeps it all ticking over until the things get, I suppose, middle of January or whenever things get back fellas get back up to speed for the first round at the end of January. So yeah, but they train separately. They wouldn't train with the seniors at all. No.
Would there be a hope for you, Donal, to manage a senior intercounty level at some stage?
There's always hope, Paul. There's always hope. Look, it's not something that's on my radar, Paul. Honestly, at the minute, it wouldn't be something that I would think of. But look, you never know what's that's around the corner and all that sort of stuff. But no, look, we have a fantastic management set up at the minute, and we're supporting them. I'm supporting them the last couple of years and trying to support them now as well. So look, it's about Galway football and bringing Galway football on. That's the remit. So whoever's in charge, it doesn't matter to me who's in charge. We support them as best we can, and that's what we're doing. But no, not at the minute, Paul.
And from seeing Galway last year, there was obviously a lot of expectation after reaching the final in 2022, just coming up narrowly against Kerry in that final. But last year there was a lot of expectation then to push on and go one step further. Obviously injuries played their part with that Sean Kelly and Damien Comer, obviously two key losses. But where do you feel Galway football's at now?
I think I firmly believe we're at the top table still. Yeah, a little bit unlucky last year, definitely. But I'm hoping, again, look, there's a good standard. There's no point saying that we're, at the top or anything like that. I think we're in the top 4 or 5, on any given day. I think we're very dangerous and teams wouldn't want to play us, you know what I mean, with guys, everyone fit and everyone, chomping at the bit. So look, it's a long season for Pádraig and the guys to maneuver, and you know what I mean. So it takes a lot of meticulous planning and trying to get guys up to speed at the right time. You know what I mean? You're talking about managing, like, don't ask me how they do that. It's tough, you know what I mean, to do that. So that's the challenge for the management, is to get them up to speed, and especially the way it is now with the new system and the provincial beforehand and the league so early and all that sort of stuff. So it is difficult. It's a long season. Keeping them fresh and all that. So look, we would hope for Galway to be fresh coming into the knockout stages, and getting to Croke Park, stuff like that. I think that's where we come alive, and we have the talent there, definitely. And the Park's been there for the last 4 years now. There's a lot of experience there now. A lot of guys that have played a lot of football, competitive championship football. So they're well versed in championship football at this stage. So I would be very, very hopeful. I wouldn't be too worried about the league at this stage. I'd be kind of more worried about kind of timing it for championship. It'd be important to stay in the league, obviously, but it would be nice to be kind of stay mid-table in the league, ideally, maybe win a Connacht championship, and then bring it into that would be ideal, and have a good, obviously, run at cut at it then once the All Ireland series gets underway. But look, it's a long road. And it's a bumpy road as well. So we're just hopeful, and we definitely have the talent. There's no question about that. No one can deny that. But getting everyone fit and ready and champing at the bit, that's the challenge for Pádraig and the lads, and better people hopefully to do that. So hopeful of a good year this year, Paul, as we are every year, but definitely this year, yeah.
And where do you feel they need to make the biggest improvement for this year going forward now?
Well, I think we're strong all over, to be honest with you. Again, it's getting guys on the field, and like, it's the form of people as well, and people don't realise this. Guys going in and out of form, and it's not as a management. It can be frustrating with guys. Oh, geez, he played well last year, not this year, And I know myself from a few years ago playing involved in senior level. It's not easy. So if we get guys on the pitch, I think we have one of the best, or I think a good balance between the good defenders and good attackers. Obviously, we have our two marquees will be Shane and Damo, but around them there's good guys. You know, Rob Finnerty probably didn't with injuries and stuff last year. He's a guy that you get him, you know, with those, then all of a sudden you have three fantastic forwards straight away, and you whatever system you want to play, you probably put workers with them. I don't know, and you know, around midfield, and obviously with Sean Kelly and John Daly, we have a great anchor there, and you know, Kieran Malloy back now, and Dylan McHugh, very strong half back line, and you know, Johnny and Jack and these guys around. Cal Sweeney again is, in my opinion, a fantastic player, and really get every year getting better and better, and very well for NUIG this year. And you know, so there's again, I think there's a lot of talent there, you know, but again, it's to get everyone, you know, on the pitch and working well together, and hopefully staying injury free. And you know, because there's a lot of things. So Shane is still playing, you know, club football, and probably will be for another while and stuff. So there's a long road yet to get it all together. So definitely the talent is there. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can get guys on the field now and get going at the end of January.
Wasn't a bad goal Shane scored at the weekend?
It wasn't, geez, yeah. It was a super goal and super pure Shane, sort of, even at the end, his balance and just changing direction to finish it. You know what I mean? Like that awareness is unbelievable. But yeah, look at he's playing good, which is good for Galway. You know what I mean? That his confidence is good, and so hopefully now, well, you know what I mean. I don't know if they go all the way now. Would that be good for Galway or something? But anyways, we'll see. But yeah, look at Shane is, if we're to do anything, you know, as we've seen the year we got to the All-Ireland 2 years ago, we need Shane kind of, you know, chomping at the bit and leading us, and everyone else kind of rolling in behind him, maybe, you know. So yeah, he's playing well as usual.
Just something you mentioned there about players can go out of form, and it can quite easily happen. But from your time involved in management, there's a pressure for these players playing for Galway. There's a lot with, I suppose, with the way social media and everything is now, with the way people are in the terraces, there is a pressure and expectation when it comes to Galway football.
Yeah, there is, I suppose. Yeah, I wouldn't be a big man without social media now, but definitely there is a pressure. There is a bit of that going on, but I think most of the guys that are involved, guys that I would know anyways, I don't think that would be a huge thing for them. You know what I mean? There's be a lot of talk outside. That Bridges Curfin game, for example,
Yeah.
like the talk that was about that. I was saying, what's going to these guys know any of these Bridges lads at all? You know, so I, to be honest, I wouldn't be into that much, and I don't think a lot of the players are either. Paul, to be honest with you, I don't think it influences. When you lose, of course, everything is highlighted a little bit more. You know, so look at, like, there's guys that are there that are well versed in on all that sort of stuff. So I don't think it influences. Again, look at personally, it doesn't, from a management point of view, it doesn't bother us, or well, bother me too much. I suppose with family members and stuff like that, people be worried about that be reading stuff about them maybe and stuff. So definitely it's on your mind maybe, but I don't think it has a huge influence. I think, you know, people talk about it more than, you know, I don't think so. That'd be my opinion on that sort of stuff. I don't think it. I think the media think they have more of an influence than they actually do. No offense, no, Paul, but I honestly do think that, and that's even at every level. I think they just, like, because when things happen, they talk about it once it happens. You know, once it's over, and it's very easy to do that. It's very easy to look back and analyze. Like, you know, the managers do that all the time. Like, you know, it's in the moment where the players, you know what I mean, are playing, and they're well trained and well versed in that, you know, to live in the moment and that sort of stuff, and then move on afterwards. So look, at social media can be very negative at times, and I know that, and it can be hurtful, but I don't think it influences guys. Once you lose and fellas are down on you, of course, you look at that even at club level, sure, roaring from the stand can be just as bad. You don't need social media. You hear your next door neighbour up there roaring at you. It can be just as bad. So look at it. It's not nice, and we don't want it, but it's there. And I've, you know, we've all been at the end of it. I have been at the end of a lot of it over the years, but to be honest, it doesn't bother me that much.
Just in this club season in particular, there has been a lot of noise from supporters, from different people watching Gaelic football, that it's just not enjoyable to watch at all at the minute. And there's a lot of people calling for different rule changes to be implemented. Now, when you're a manager, you obviously don't care what way you win. As long as you win, you get the results. That's all that really matters, and your team gives a performance. But from watching on, do you think there needs to be a rule change implemented, or do you think people are just making too much out of this?
Yeah, again, I wouldn't think about it as much as the people that maybe than yourselves and stuff like that. It can be for me. I don't find any game boring in football. I'm being honest there. I find them intriguing. I find them, you know what I mean, interesting and stuff like that. But maybe I'm a bit weird like that. I don't know. But I don't know. The forward mark, I think maybe inside the 21 for me, maybe might be more of a, if they're inside the 21 and it's outside the 45, that for me might be a little bit better than what it is at the minute. You know, that might, you know, like look, the way I think about football and our philosophy is very progressive and forward thinking anyway, and we try to attack more and maybe too much at times and kick the ball a lot. So to be honest, it doesn't bother me that much. So we try and move it quicker than, you know, than most. So, but it can be difficult to break big teams down and stuff like that. But again, that's the challenge, and it's intriguing there. But definitely the mark inside maybe the 21 or something along those lines. They're doing the kick out now, and I was looking at the thing the last day. It doesn't seem to, you know, it doesn't seem to be working in the first year. Is it the freshers competition? Is there something?
Yeah, the freshers. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit going on, but I suppose at the minute I'm not thinking about it that much, maybe, you know, or enough to have a good opinion about it. But yeah, look, I don't get into the kind of everything is kind of broke in Gaelic football. I wouldn't be like that at all. There's a lot of good stuff going on. When you play games in the weather, it's and guys are so fit nowadays. It's easier for them to get back. You know what I mean? And it's obviously instilled in them and their coaches. And we're all, you know, you defend and attack with the ball or whatever, and you try and defend when you don't have it, all that sort of stuff. But that was always there. You know what I mean? That was always there. I think anyways. So it's just a little bit more at the minute. But look, it's good for coaches, and it's easier to be a defensive coach nowadays, I think, anyway. So I think that the intriguing part of coaching is breaking down and having the bravery to, you know, kick it at times and move it quick, and don't be afraid to lose it. And that stuff in Galway football we try to instill in guys. You know what I mean? Not to have that fear of, you know, losing it and stuff like that. And that's what we would have been all the time coaching, and that's what we would have been brought up with as well, I suppose, maybe. But no, I look at it. I think maybe there is a lot of hand passing back and over and stuff like that. But sometimes that's good as well. But the guys that are braver, I think usually, and the guys, you know, the team probably that has the best forwards usually win the All Ireland most. You know, whether it's senior or under 20s and stuff, you don't see any. And I don't know, I could be wrong now, but usually you don't see a very defensive team winning an All Ireland. I don't think so. Even back to, you know, Donegal's and stuff like that, they have the best of forwards. You know what I mean? I know they were renowned for their defence, but you need forwards. You need forwards. They need the ball fast, and that won't change. And I think it's up to those coaches to encourage that. I think, anyways, if you keep encouraging that, the game will be fine. You know, and you win more games than you lose, in my opinion. So that would be, I wouldn't get bogged down too much on that. You know, train the coaches better, or, you know what I mean, give the coaches the confidence to actually do that, you know. So, because this thing about winning at all costs and all that, it's there all the time. And so we're borrowing that from the Premiership and stuff like that, I suppose. You know, managers are under pressure straight away after 3 or 4 games, and even Pep himself is under pressure now. God help him. Yeah. So look at it. It's I wouldn't think there's a crisis, Paul, in my opinion, but maybe I'm not thinking about it as hard as most people. But that'll be what I'm thinking on it, anyways. You know.
I'm sure a few rounds into the league there'll be a crisis for some people the way it's played.
Too many hand passes. Too many hand passes.
But just finally, Donal, obviously this season is kind of like the club management around the county. It's like the merry-go-round, different people being linked to various roles, but some of it mightn't even be true. Were you tempted at all to stay involved in the club game for next season?
To be honest, I haven't decided yet. Could get involved yet, Paul. I haven't decided at the minute now what I'll do next now, maybe, or something. It might, because I have young kids as well, so it's not that easy. It's not a simple decision for me, anyways. Because I'm gone a lot and have been gone a lot for a long time. So no, look, at not at the minute now. No, wouldn't have anything with the German squad now. That takes up your time now, anyways, and. So no, nothing at the minute. But it's. I think it's good that different coaches go around, give different ideas. I don't think there's any harm in that, because a lot of good coaches in Galway. So yeah, so different coaches, and like there's good coaches and there's bad coaches and there's lucky coaches and all that. So even if a bad coach comes in, there's learning in that for me. You know what I mean? You learn maybe what not to do or stuff that you mightn't do again. And so yeah, look at it. It's as long as there's coaching going on, you know what I mean? Coaching as opposed to training, you know what I mean? You got a lot of guys go in, they train a team, and so I'd be big into the coaching of them, and trying to make guys better at football if you're going into a club to do that and help the club be better. That's the idea. It should be, in my opinion. But yeah, the club's seen a lot of good coaches around Galway now, a lot of good teams, So yeah, it's a merry-go-round, all right.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we do have time for on our show for today. Thanks a million, Donal, for coming on.
No problem, Paul. Appreciate